Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 18 of the Building Strength podcast. I'm your boy, Theo Lim, and currently I'm sitting in my car just outside of the gym. I've got some clients in about an hour and a half, so I figured I'd bang out this podcast. It's currently Wednesday afternoon. This is usually when I record it, and then I release it Wednesday evening or Thursday morning. I just finished some training, pretty short session, very enjoyable. I know maybe a couple months ago I wasn't feeling the training too much, like I wasn't super into it. I still did it, but that burning desire to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go lift, that wasn't there. But over the last couple weeks, it's kind of returned. The passion is there. The desire to lift heavy is there again. I think it's just a natural, for me at least, it's just like a natural ebb and flow of being super into lifting heavy and then kind of backing off and then just waiting for that desire to come back. I try not to force it too much. And I also don't completely stop training. I still do it. It's just not as big of a deal as it is now again. As big of a deal as in there's like a certain mindset approaching the training. It's like, oh shit, I have to train. I don't really want to. Let me try to think of some excuses that will get me out of training. Versus, oh hell yeah, I'm training today. I can't wait to train. Like, I'm gonna hit X lift for X amount of reps. Can't wait. So it's just a different mindset. And over my lifting career, I think there have been times where I've been super into it and times when I have not been into it at all. And I think this is just gonna keep going for the rest of my life, which is okay. So I've got a couple things I want to talk about. I just put out an Instagram post about warming up and why I think it's really important. I mean, everyone knows why it's important in terms of preventing injury, increasing blood flow, lubricating the joints, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows that. Everyone already knows that. But I think a really big part of warming up that I adopted very early in my own journey is like, it's your opportunity. It's the 10-minute opportunity to check in with your body that day and feel how it's feeling. Because day to day, we don't feel the same. Ideally, we're fresh all the time and like our hips are great all the time, but that's just not the case. It's mostly a product of like the nature of our daily lives now, right? As in, we're sitting a lot. Right now I'm sitting. I kind of wish I was walking or standing, but I wanted to get this recorded on the camera as well. So we're sitting a lot. Our shoulders are kind of, most of the time they're rolled forward, whether we're driving or we're on the computer or we're on our cell phones. So our hips and our upper back, our T-spine, our thoracic spine really takes a beating. So we're not always fresh, and most of the time we are on the tighter end rather than loose and ready to go. So I really think that 10-minute warm-up, 5 to 10-minute warm-up is really important, not just for all of the physical benefits, which are all very important, but also for the mental and psychological benefits of just knowing how your body feels that day. So, because you might need to make changes in your own training because of how you're feeling that day. Or you might have to add some things or take away some things. Again, it's just building that awareness. And for me, the way I usually explain it is like, generally we're doing the same warm-ups all the time. As in, I generally have a good warm-up routine that I like to do. Of course, it's going to differ a bit depending on what you're doing that day, but most of the time you are doing like similar movements, or at least you're aiming for the same results. As in, you're generally going to be, if you're doing lower body, ankles are important and hips are very important. And always, whether you're doing upper body or lower body, the T-spine, the thoracic spine, upper back, mid back, that's very important as well. So through the process of doing a similar warm-up every time you're in the gym, you're gonna know if things kind of feel good that day, or maybe things don't feel good that day. So for example, today I was doing an upper body workout, and over the last couple days, I kind of noticed like my left shoulder, my left lat, that whole left side was like a little jacked up. So I was already kind of aware of that coming into the day, and then I started warming up, and I was like, yeah, this really doesn't feel good today. That shoulder, that lat, that whole upper back area on the left side was really feeling off. So instead of jumping right into my main lift, after doing my general warm-up, I did some smaller movements first. So I did some rear delt work. I did rear delt flies, 20 reps, very lightweight. I did lateral raises, and I did overhead kettlebell walks, just to kind of like get blood in that area, and just warm it up, see if it would start to feel better. So I did 3 sets of that circuit, took maybe an extra 5 minutes. I mean, my workouts aren't that long anyway these days. So it took me about 5 minutes to do that. Then I got under the bar for the overhead press. And it still wasn't feeling that great. So I kind of cut the reps for my main set. Cut the reps. It's like you're really not going to lose anything by not doing it on that day. So just stay healthy, save it for another day. So I did that, and then I did some back work, and I added in some sledgehammer strikes on the tire because it would help me get some rotation, just get some movement in that shoulder rotator cuff area. So again, it's just building that awareness of, okay, this kind of feels bad today. Let's not push it so much. We're still going to do it, but let's not kill ourselves, or let's not risk any type of injury. Basically, let's not make it worse today. So, and then there's the inverse where you might be feeling great that day. And it's like, well, I only had this plan today, but I feel really good. Let's push it a little bit more. You know what I mean? So it's just building that awareness of your body, knowing how you feel, and knowing what to do about it, or what not to do. Because I saw a question on a message board that I frequent, and someone was asking, like, how do you keep your spine healthy as you age? And I really thought about it, and I replied with a very simple answer. Have a strong body, as in have a strong back, have a strong core, and have strong legs. So have a strong body. Work your body, make sure you move it, stay active. So be strong, stay active, and the last one, be aware of how the body feels. Because no one else is going to have that awareness for you. And it's like we're living in this machine that is our body, right? And we're going to be in it for the next, depending on how old you are, for a couple more decades at least, right? Really, for me, the main motivation behind this is that I don't have health benefits. As in, I don't have insurance money to go get a massage, or to go get physio done, or anything like that. So I know, and this is something I try to push for other people, even if they do have benefits. It's just like you have to take matters into your own hands. And in this day and age, the information is out there, and it's out there for us to utilize. So like there's literally no reason not to take matters into our own hands. So personally, I don't have any insurance. That's why I'm really big on these things. I'm not against getting a massage or going to get like chiropractic treatment or going to see a physiotherapist just to maintain the body. I think that's really great. I think it's important. But it's only going to help you if you're helping yourself outside of that time. Because those professionals are in the same position as trainers are in. As in, we train people, say 2 to 3 hours max per week. There's another 160 odd hours for them to either fuck it all up or do the exercises that are prescribed so that they can get better faster. So, although personal trainers and physiotherapists and massage therapists can help you, and they will help you, at the end of the day, you have to help yourself. So that's why I'm really big on the whole being aware of your own body. Like for me, that's really important. And moving into, I had a question, someone was asking me, like, how do you know you had a good workout? And because right now there's all these like fitness watches that show you how many calories you've burned, what your heart rate is, how many steps you've taken, which is all great. I'm not against it. I think as I grow as a coach and as a person, it's very hard to objectively be against something because everything has its own use. Everything has its time and place. They're all just tools in the toolbox. So I have a couple clients who like sometimes they'll look at their watch at the end of the workout and be like, "Oh, I only burned 200 calories today. Oh, that must mean like I suck, or your trainer sucks, or like I didn't do enough today." And like calories is it's not a good way to judge like your overall workout. It's a good way to track your like cardiovascular workouts. But in terms of strength training work in general, it's not really a good way to judge it. Just the same as going to a group class. So one of the gyms I work at, it's a group training facility, and we do like some conditioning classes there. And a lot of the times people will judge like the workout on how much they sweat, which is okay, but at the same time it's like it's not the best judge of the workout. Like just because the saying is like any idiot can make another idiot tired, and that's very true. So the amount you sweat and the amount of calories you burn is not really a good judge of how good your workout was. Which then leads you to ask, well, what is a good judge of whether or not you had a good workout? I think there are a couple ways to judge it. First of all, did you learn anything? Or did you get better at anything? As in, maybe you're videotaping your technique, or maybe you're working on your technique, and although you didn't get a great sweat, maybe you learned a lot about how to execute a certain lift. Or maybe in terms of like, did you get better from the workout? Well, did you feel like maybe you felt like giving up last time while you're doing something? Today, did you feel like giving up? Or maybe you still felt like giving up, but you still did it anyway. And then you felt good about that. So I think it's more like, instead of objectively judging your training sessions, whether it's like good and bad by like the hard statistics, Obviously, it's a good workout if you hit all your lifts that you had planned, right? Like, say you had 5 sets of 5 at this weight planned and you hit it. Okay, yeah, I guess that's a good workout. So there are a lot of ways to judge whether you had a good session or not. I think some of them, I think there are definitely bad ways to judge your workout. So again, total amount of calories you burned or how much you sweat, like how drenched was your t-shirt. I don't know, maybe the room was just hot. Or maybe where there were like 40 people in the room compared to 10 people. So that's really not a good judge of whether you got better or not, whether you learned something. I think a good way to look at it, I don't know who said it. I can't think of who said it, but it's like every session you have, just try to be 1% better than the person you were when you walked into the gym. Just try to be 1% better. Whether you like tweak something in your form or whether you changed your mindset about something, it's like just try to be a little better today. Like it's going to be very hard to make massive progress in one day. So just day by day, just keep going at it. And I wanted to touch on one last thing. So I get a lot of questions regarding food, regarding training, regarding cardio. But the number one thing that I ask people when they bring up these things like, oh, regarding fat loss or even muscle gain, right? It's all the same. The number one thing is, how is your sleep? And how are your stress levels? And how good are you at managing your stress levels? There was a Stan Efferding, if you guys know him, in his PDF I read recently is like, you're an idiot if you take creatine but only sleep 5 hours a night and you're trying to get bigger. So for him, he had a whole PDF. If anyone wants it, one of my good friends shared it with me. It's the Vertical Diet. I think it's the Vertical Diet and his like training program in addition to that. But anyway, it's a really good read, really short and really good read. For his first chapter was literally about sleep. He said, sleep is the number one thing. If you don't have this first aspect down and you do everything else right, you might make some progress, but not nearly as much as if you had your sleep down. So sleep is really important, and stress, because that directly correlates, right? So I had a couple clients who are struggling with their fat loss or on their journey of fat loss, and they're kind of asking me about like certain nutritional things or whether one type of cardio was better than the other. And then I, through like asking them a bit about their personal life, how they slept, how like work is going or how business is going, I discovered that like their stress levels are fucking high. So from my point of view, it's like, don't even worry about how your cardio is or how your nutrition is right now. I mean, still be on top of it, obviously. But that shouldn't be your priority. Your priority should be learning how to develop and get better with your sleep hygiene. So learning how to shut your brain down when it comes like close to bedtime. Just like learning how to relax, right? Learning how to manage that stress. So it's just funny how this is often overlooked because it's not as sexy as HIIT training or being on a keto diet or fasting. Like all those things are so much sexier than, why don't you just sleep 1 or 2 more hours per night and see how that feels, because that will probably help you a lot. So I think a lot of times sleep and stress management are overlooked. I think those are very important things. It's just crazy how, like, we put so much time and effort into our training. We put so much time and effort into our nutrition and our cardiovascular work, but so little attention is given to how well are you sleeping? What are the factors that are preventing you from sleeping well? And then how much stress are you currently dealing with? Whether that's your training stress, your stress around your diet, your stress around your work, and then finally, maybe the most important, your stress around your relationships, whether that's your significant other, your parents, your immediate family, your friends. Like, how are the stress levels surrounding those areas of your life? And then how can you improve that versus simply, maybe I need to do more cardio, or maybe I need to eat less, or maybe I need to eat a certain way. So for you guys listening, I'd say, and if you're really deep into the health and fitness game, which you probably are if you're listening, so your friends probably ask you questions about eating,